Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Great Jewel Hunt by Kitty Richards. Big book. Farewell, my love, said Snow White. The prince was leaving on a royal trip, and it was the first time the newlyweds would be apart. I'll be home soon, replied the prince. And in the meantime, I left an envelope for you on the well. It's the first clue in the treasure hunt, and at the end you'll find a special gift. The clue was in plain sight, and the dwarves gathered around Snow White, and she opened the envelope. I wonder what gift this would be. And then she read the clue aloud. Can't leave you a kiss or even a hug, but here's a clue. Look under the... I know, said Sneezy. The prince left the next clue under a bug. Sneezy quickly led everybody to the garden. Oh, I would love this. I would love this. Leave me little clues. I'd be all happy. Snow White and the dwarves looked under the ladybugs, the spiders, the butterflies, the beetles, and very carefully underneath the bumblebees. But they didn't find anything. Actually, it would be quite hard to hide a clue under a bug, said Snow White. Maybe it's hidden under something that sounds like bug. Under a jug? Asked Happy. Happy. No, he must have meant under a mug, said Grumpy to the kitchen. But as the dwarves searched inside, Grumpy tripped over Dopey crawling on the floor, and somebody's castle is mad and banners. And scolded Dog. I mean, bad manners. Whatever are you doing, Dopey? Asked Snow White, and Dopey crawled out from underneath the carpet and held up an envelope. And Snow White clapped her hands together. Under the rug! Oh, Dopey, you're a genius. Dopey, a genius? I mean, he's definitely the cutest one when you think about it. There's no one cuter than Dopey. This little man tries so hard. Snow White read the next clue. Hooray, you found it. Easy when you try. Now in the kitchen and lift up the pie, shouted the dwarves at the same time. Searching had given them an appetite. And sure enough, the next clue was hidden underneath the pie plate. First, Snow White served everybody a big feast of freshly gooseberry pie. And then, while they were eating, she read the next clue. Put on a smile, it's no turn to frown. You'll find the next clue under your royal... Snow White thought for a moment. My royal gown? Well, that's a definite place to hide a clue. The dwarves... Of course it did. The dwarves all nodded in agreement and took off their pie. And finished off their pie. I'm starting to fade you all. This is ridiculous. In Snow White's dressing room, the dwarves searched through the gown after gown after gown after gown, and no clue was found. Now we'll never find Snow White's gift, Sneezy said sadly, and Grumpy noticed Bashful standing in the corner. Why aren't you searching? Grumpy asked him. Why, he doesn't have to. He's wearing my royal crown, and that must be the next clue. Bashful took off the crown. Inside was the clue. The gift is almost yours. My, the game is flown. There's one less thing to do. Go look upon your stones, offered Sneezing. That's silly, said Grumpy. It must be bone. Soon the dwarves were shouting their own answers. Cone, cologne, trombone. As the dwarves guessed, nobody realized someone was missing. Where's Sleepy? She asked, and they all set off to look for him. But he wasn't in the dining room or in the kitchen or in the great hall. So Snow White started to get worried when she looked around the royal throne room. I said, I found him, Happy cried. Sleepy was sound asleep on Snow White's throne. That's the answer to the clue, she whispered. Go look upon your throne. Where's the gift? Grumpy grumbled. Right here, said Dog. Look. Sitting at the very top of Snow White's throne was two birds holding something that sparkled. To everyone's surprise, the birds flown down and placed a delicate necklace around Snow White's neck. The gift was stunning, a heart-shaped ruby with a gold chain. Why, it's the color of love, she said. Doc saw that Snow White was holding something else. The birds left a note, and Snow White opened the envelope and read aloud. Yes, jewels are lovely, and at this hunt, one thought keeps in my mind. The best gifts are odds and ends, shouted Sneezy. No, they're chicken and hens, said Happy. Pens, said Bashful quietly. Grumpy couldn't believe his ears. What is wrong with you, fella? The answer is friends. You're right, said Snow White. I love my new necklace. And the best part was the time we spent together. Friends are the greatest gift of all, and all the dwarfs cheered, but not Grumpy. He couldn't argue with that. Yeah?